Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the Execution Show. And today we have with us Mr. Niraj Shah. And I'm extremely excited to have him here because the topic is about using a tool that we've all been using for a very long period of time, but still fail to use it efficiently. And it's an endless ocean of opportunities that lies on that tool. We're going to understand more about LinkedIn today. How do you use LinkedIn? How do you get conversions of different kinds via LinkedIn? And Sir is a super specialist on that. Before we dig deeper, let me introduce Sir. Sir has brought BNI India. In fact, he was the founder of BNI in India. Today, it is a huge organization with members in thousands and maybe in lakhs. But back then, Sir was the first person to bring it to Indian shows and explain people what networking is and how do you go about it. After that, Sir has been teaching students on how do you use LinkedIn and how do you use AI together and separately through his institute called Titan Mastermind. So lately, Sir has introduced or launched CrazyD.ai, an agency where he works with founders, educators, brands, and coaches and consultants to use AI in their LinkedIn, in their SEO efforts, and how do you scale these using AI and some and strategies that is acquired and learned over years. And today we are going to completely break down how do you network, how do you go from offline to online, how do you grow your network, how do you use LinkedIn to grow that, and how do you derive maximum value out of LinkedIn, and how do you use LinkedIn in a manner that brings business to you. So we are super excited to have you, Sir, today.
Thank you.
And we cannot wait to dig deeper in the conversation.
Absolutely. I'm on fire, just waiting for this.
So let's get started. If you are someone who's an educator, who is an entrepreneur, or anyone who's looking to benefit from LinkedIn or is not really active on it or is trying on it, this is your episode. You should really spend time, go through every minute of it. We'll talk about things that are extremely actionable and that will help you grow your business using LinkedIn and its superpowers, and also use AI to help you save time and get the best out of the same. So with all that, let's get started. So Sir, why LinkedIn? How LinkedIn?
LinkedIn is the biggest network in the world. I think it's the best network in the world. It has over 1 billion users now. It has been bought over by Microsoft quite a few years back. They bought it for, imagine, $26 billion with the B.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely huge. And they've invested a huge amount of money.
Yeah.
You have the top decision makers of companies on this particular platform. And you're able to learn so much about their journey because the way it has been set up, initially it started off as perhaps a career portal, a platform, but now it has morphed into becoming the world's #1 business network. And the key decision makers are also high income earning people. So therefore, it's an amazing combination of decision makers plus people who earn a high income. And if you're able to grow a network there, you will have a very powerful network. And if you're able to monetize it, even better.
Yeah. I love how you use the word monetize instead of monetize. We're all aware of LinkedIn and its superpowers and what the kind of people that it has and the context in which it starts conversation. Why did you get started, or how did you get started on LinkedIn, Sir?
I actually started an offline business network that is quite well known now called BNI. Now it has some 60,000 members across India.
Yeah.
So I was the founder of that, bringing it here to India.
Oh, wow.
So that was about 21 years ago in 2004.
Okay.
And we grew that to over 10,000 members across 28 cities. So at that point in time, offline networking was what I was focusing on. However, people don't know that I actually ended up growing that because I only knew one person when I moved here by leveraging online networks, even at that point in time in 2004. So when COVID and lockdown happened in 2020, I felt that the best place to be, because people were not going to be able to meet in person, would then to be on LinkedIn. And that's where I kind of pivoted and went all in on LinkedIn.
So you started as an offline version of networking, and LinkedIn is just an online migration of what you were doing offline anyways.
Yeah, so I found a lot of the key things that we had learned that made offline networking work, you could apply into LinkedIn. And not only that, it had now much more functionality, which gave you a much wider reach than you could possibly get offline networking.
So before we get to LinkedIn, I have two questions from what you just explained and how you got started. Basically, LinkedIn is an extension of the networking that you were doing offline. A lot of people have differing views on networking. Can you break down what exactly is networking for our audience, and how does that play a role? Because it obviously comes at a cost, and the cost is often time more than money. So can you, one, break down networking for our listeners and the benefits and the cons of it? Because I'm sure there are both sides of argument. And second, you said you were using a lot of online tools even at the time when you were building back BNI in India. So at that point, what were those tools? What that will help us understand is what was the scene, let's say 2004-5 in India in terms of online communities, in terms of online networks. So let's take the first question first about networking, and then we can come to the second one.
Unfortunately, many people think networking is not working.
Okay.
So yes, it's a play on words, but no, you have to be strategic.
Sure.
And it's not what you know that matters, it's who you know that matters.
Okay.
So I only knew one person when I moved here, but that one person was absolutely instrumental in helping me connect and get this thing off the ground.
Sure.
So it's not the quantity of people, but the depth of the relationship. So people always talk about the ROI of networking.
Yeah.
I think they're focusing on the wrong thing.
Okay.
They need to focus on ROR. Return on relationships.
Okay.
And it is the depth of the relationship. If someone cannot remember you, how will they ever
help you,
refer you, help you, open up doors for you?
Got it.
However, if you're memorable and you that top of mind awareness is there, when someone asks them, hey, who do you know that can help you with LinkedIn? They should remember me.
Okay.
So that is what networking is. And you can be strategic about it. You don't have to waste. It's not about dishing out cards or just sending connections and spamming people. It's really being strategic and saying, hey, okay, I think I can help this person in this way. Let me be of value first, help this person, because there's a simple formula I'll give you for networking. Know, like, and trust. And you can't go from know to trust and miss the like in between. Okay. So the know and like happens when we connect to the other person as a human being. Okay. And then the trust happens through your expertise content, because at the end of the day, people want to solve a specific problem that they may be having, and they want to be confident that, yes, you are the right person to be able to solve those particular issues. So that is how these two things work. And by you being active on LinkedIn, setting up your profile in the right way, doing content, commenting, reaching out, connecting, that is how you will be able to consistently keep moving, know, like, trust, and build a very profitable network.
Got it. So again, I'm going back to the time when you were, let's say, investing time and effort in BNI and building that. Which was offline, so far more effort as compared to LinkedIn, which is online now in your mobile phones. Maybe that would include, BNI would include dialing up someone more than, let's say, sending them a request.
Well, first of all, the internet connection was absolutely terrible. It used to, midway break, and it was at such a slow speed, you know. So I remember, my partner in the UK, just giving up and then just calling me, because we couldn't have that conversation. So that's definitely one thing.
Sure.
The second thing was I ended up joining LinkedIn, I think in 2005. So it's a year later. But there was another online network called eAcademy. It doesn't exist anymore. But I know the founder, Thomas Power, from the UK.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of got to meet some key people here. Like Akhil Shahani is a very successful business owner here. They have multiple educational institutions, paper distribution. They have multiple businesses. I met him through eAcademy.
Got it.
And, he's one of those early adopters.
Got it.
And people I remember used to walk in the room and say, "Oh, wow, Akhil Shahani is in the room. How did you get him here?"
Wow.
I said, I just reached out to him on Academy. I said,
Wow.
"Hey, I'm new here in London."
Wow.
Another person from London, because I sent a little email to everyone saying, "Hey, I'm moving to India. I don't really know anyone. If you know someone who's in business, then connect me." So they connected me to Anuj Puri, who at that point in time was managing director of Chesterton Megraj, which then became JLL.
Okay.
So he grew JLL massively. So all of those things came from relationships.
Got it.
So, you focus on relationships. Don't make relationships transactional.
Okay.
Just build good relationships with good people for the sake of building those relationships. You never know when and where they will become useful. So that's a very, very important part to it.
So what you're saying essentially is the ROI mechanism or the ROI way of thinking for networking is just a flawed way of thinking is what you're referring. You're referring more on return on relations. Having said that, obviously, at least a lot of people perceive it as a very transactional thing. And the cost is not really the money cost, but it's also the effort cost. So maybe we could track return on effort more than anything else. But I believe I get what you're saying, that all these inputs should not be tracked. What should be tracked is the end relation and just maintaining the relation for the sake of maintaining it, or for the right reasons, that is maintaining the relation and not getting a business benefit out of it.
Try and be helpful. I think that's the one key thing that I'll say. In BNI, we had a particular phrase, give is gain. So it's about how can you help someone first. Then you'll find specific ways in which you can gain, and don't always feel that you must gain from that person that you've given. So again, like you'll be keeping track of everything. That doesn't work. And people sense that. So, just try and be helpful.
Got it.
And you have a great time. You enjoy the whole process, because if you don't enjoy something, you're not going to keep doing it, right? So you've got to find, and imagine, like, I was a person who's an introvert. And imagine starting a network. So, I had to before I'd go into a networking event, I'd have to turn on the extrovert side of me. So I would say I'm always a situational extrovert. So it's a little bit like that. You have to know, now I have to turn this up so you can be the best that you can be in that situation.
All right. So I come back to the framework that you said, know, like, and trust.
Yes.
How about that in an offline world? I will come to LinkedIn and the online world. But how does that work in an offline world?
In an offline world, typically, I see at networking events, people just give their card and then just spout an elevator pitch about themselves. In fact, what you should do is, a good networker has 2 ears and 1 mouth and uses them proportionately. So ask questions, because the person who asks the right questions controls the entire conversation. So you want to take genuine interest on who's in front of you. Like, hey, Anurag, what do you do? Where have you come from? Oh, tell me more about your business. What kind of clients do you deal with? Because at that point in time, you will get a lot of data points around which you can then frame your introduction.
All right.
So, like, take, for example, if I know you are working with a lot of authors, then I say, oh, that's great. We actually can help your authors increase their visibility and credibility on LinkedIn. So then automatically you'll be interested in what I have to say. You'll say, oh, tell me more. How do you do that?
Very, very.
Which gives me permission now to talk about what my expertise and business is.
So that's about know. How about like and trust?
Well, know and like actually comes from people finding similarities or points of interest. And therefore, sometimes, like in the Insta world, everything is always rosy and everyone's living their best, amazing life. And but we know for a fact that's not true. Unfortunately, there was some Instagrammer who committed suicide. On live, on their Insta page, everything looked perfect. but they were going through such a hard time and no one knew about it. Okay. So what I would say is that look to tell stories about where you've screwed up, where you've made mistakes. What have been some of the learnings? How did you overcome something tough? It could have been a personal challenge or it could have been a professional challenge. Okay. That's going to make it more real and authentic. And that's where actually a lot of people connect with me because of the stories that they've connected with. That's at a heart level, a human level. Okay. That's where know and like actually happens. Like, I like this guy. He or she is like me. So that know and like comes, and then you're able to layer in through your expertise, the trust part.
Got it.
So you trust me, we're not going to do business with someone we don't know and like. Forget getting to the trust. Even if I trust someone, it's like, if the know and like is not there, like if I can get away with not working with this person, I will. If I have no choice, then I may. But it's like you're begrudgingly kind of doing it. Which no one actually wants to do. It's not a fun thing.
So that just sets me up in the most fundamental way how you think. Know, like, and trust. And that's, we can have a lot of funnels and complicated talk about it, but very simply put, get someone to know you. After that, get few people of them to like you. And after that, a large part of them who trust you will actually do business with you or convert with you. And that's the fundamental that you can apply to almost all forms of networking, be it LinkedIn, be it offline, be it BNI, be it some other platform, all across. And that is the fundamental on which we'll build the discussion.
In fact, that KLT, it's essentially something called social selling. So, look up that particular word, but what we've just given you, that is the formula for social selling.
So please do read about social selling. How do you sell socially without actually selling? Because when social part is involved, you can't really sell. So let's move to the second question. Help us or walk us through the journey, what it was like building BNI back in the day, and what were some questions or objections that would come up with people joining in and not seeing the way of value that it would have brought. I'm particularly talking about objections because that is how people will be thinking, or that would be the roadblocks that you'll be clearing. And what was the journey like? What were the digital tools that you used, and so on? And then we'll graduate into LinkedIn and how the current form of it happened.
So one of the key objections is, hang on, okay, I'm already doing networking for free. You want to come here and, number one, teach me networking, and number two, charge me for it. You're out of your mind, So they didn't understand that. So to that, I had a very simple question. Okay, so how much of your business comes through referrals? And typically, most businesses, 90% plus comes through referrals. So then I'd ask a simple question. What percent, do you have a system in place right now to generate regular referrals? And as soon as I'd asked that, it's like, oh, actually I don't. Okay, so this is what this is. And then, that would earn me the right to explain how it worked and say, okay, imagine there's only one person from your trade or profession in this group, and then there's another 50 people who want to every week learn about what you do and open up their contact base and connect you with people who actually require your products and services. So then people began to kind of get it. And then, we were able to move forward. Of course, we had to do some tweaks in terms of, Indianize, because, what I'll tell anyone who brings in a foreign franchise, you can't just cut, copy, paste. India works in a different way. So you've got to understand that. Take, for example, worldwide, we used to start BNI meetings at 7 a.m. The person that, when I moved here, the person said, no one's going to turn up at 7 a.m. So don't even think about that. So we ended up changing it to 8 a.m. Then I said, no one has breakfast before. Have breakfast afterwards. So, there were little changes. We began to make these little tweaks and stuff like that. And I started to identify that what were some of the challenges. People had a hard time getting across the elevator pitch. So we really helped them put together really nice elevator pitches, which made them confident. So, there was a lot of personal growth that happened, and people started enjoying. We had some socials. We met in the evenings with the spouses, because even the spouses were wondering, this guy never gets up early ever. And like, Wednesday, he's out at this crazy hour, what is he actually doing, So we introduced all the spouses. So it was really nice. So I have fond memories of that journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you go about it? How did you use the offline mechanism?
So we realized we needed to have two things in place. First of all, we had to have members themselves invite their contacts, their people that they knew. So it's not me trying to just constantly invite. And they understood how to strategically invite them and who to invite. So I think, that became a key part of it. Then what we started seeing was that we put together a website and we started getting a lot of traffic. However, there was no way for us to generate leads. So what I did was I wrote a part of a book which was on the online networking part, because that I knew very well. And the founder of BNI, Dr. Ivan Meisner, he wrote the offline part. And then we made that a little lead magnet. It was a little ebook that you could get from the site. And, kind of after you'd scroll there'd be a little pop-up that would come up. And that's how we began to generate people's emails. And then we started doing 3 blogs every week. And then you get a little summary email of that. And from that, we then started getting inquiries, is there a BNI meeting near me? Is it in my city? All of those sorts of things. And pretty soon we were closing about 30 new members every month.
Wow.
Just from that simple thing. Yes.
Yeah. So it was back in the day as well. The basics still remain the same. You put up something that's of value and genuinely of value to people, and people do show up to, and then you tell them more about you. And
I don't believe in push. I believe in pull.
Yeah.
So let it happen naturally and organically.
Again, as you said, know, like, and trust.
Yes.
So the same fundamentals here as well.
Yes, because every week we used to send that email and they used to get value, and it's like, hey, this networking thing, maybe we're not doing it as well as we could be.
Sure.
We could be getting much better solutions. Or, hey, this is a new way of doing it. Let me at least check it out. I'm curious.
So I understand the journey that has been, and for someone who's starting out today, let's say an entrepreneur who let's say 24, 25-year-old entrepreneur who's working hard and wants to share about his work, or let's say even in an alternate case, a 35, 40-year-old professional or entrepreneur who wants to share his journey and maybe from a networking benefit, maybe just to share. What is the best, or what is the step-by-step list that you would tell them to follow to build their network, to grow their network in an online or offline world? The means can be chosen by them.
I think one thing which is relevant, and this is relevant right across, it doesn't matter online or offline, okay? You've got to get very clear about your offer, okay? People buy solutions. People buy outcomes. So you've got to understand what the outcome is. And we have a very simple thing that we call the rule of one. So who is the one perfect customer that you want to deal with?
Sure.
What is the one key problem that they have that you're able to solve? What is the solution that you put together that solves that? And what is the one measurable outcome you're able to deliver? Okay. Once you're very clear about that, then it doesn't matter whether you meet someone offline or whether you meet someone online. You'll be able to immediately start a conversation which is irresistible, and you'll be able to get that pull. They'll want to know more about your product or service. So if someone who is that perfect target market comes, because you know exactly what their hot buttons are, okay?
Yeah.
So, and here what happens is you're not trying to appeal to anyone and everyone. There's only certain type of people that you're trying to appeal to, okay? And therefore, when you come across those people, you'll have an elevator pitch, okay? So the typical question that you get asked at a networking event, what do you do?
Wow.
And people are not ready even with that. And they ramble on and confuse, okay? So you've got to have something very succinct. Now, in LinkedIn, that's your banner. So you should put your elevator pitch on your banner. So, you should be ready with that. Plus, LinkedIn is also a search engine.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that there are, 6.7 billion searches being done on LinkedIn every year.
Wow.
And if you've not set up your headline in the right way, you will not show up when you should be showing up. And maybe a competitor will show up. Likewise, people do a search on Google, right? Even if they're looking to work with you, someone's recommended, they'll Google your name. Now, did you know that when they Google your name, the first thing that will show up, even if you have your own website, is your LinkedIn profile? And imagine you kind of click on that and you've not set up your LinkedIn profile properly. It's like going to a business networking event. Everyone else is in their suits, and you are in chappal and shorts. And then you're wondering, why? Like I'm being ghosted. Suddenly I had this hot inquiry and now, that person doesn't return my calls or anything. That's probably because you didn't check how things had been set up. So it's really important.
Got it. No, I totally get that. So essentially what you said was for someone who's starting on any sort of networking, not just LinkedIn, is first thing identify the target audience, and it's really specific. You said the rule of one. That is one target audience. Having one, so now once you have that one target audience, you know who they are.
Yes.
You know what their pain points are.
Yes.
You are not something to everyone. You are a lot of things to one person.
Yes.
And just trying to identify those people and build a relation with them.
Yes.
And after that, everything else, you just do it naturally, will follow, having an offer.
I'll give you a quick example. When I kind of switched gears and went into business coaching in 2016, there was a BNI member who approached me, and I just for free coached them for 6 weeks.
Okay.
But that 6 weeks, in the next 6 months, her business grew by 250%. Now she's quite an influencer online and, has done very well. And, she ended up recording a 1-minute video testimonial for me. Off the back of that one testimonial, I've literally sold tens of lakhs of business coaching. So, that is what I was saying earlier, that, if you just help someone approached me, I didn't talk about, okay, it will be so much. I said, look, I'm just starting out as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was open and honest. But she said, look, I've been following your entire journey and I know exactly what you're capable of. I'm confident that you'll be able to help me. So I said, let's get started, you know? So I kind of went through that, and that's what, helped me actually launch that particular business. So this is what I was saying, that, get very clear, work with some people initially for free and say to them, hey, if I help you do this, and this is the kind of outcome I want to help you get, is it okay if you give me a video testimonial or something like that, a written testimonial? Because people want social proof. And if you're able to give them that social proof and you're able to show them different types of businesses or that kind of avatar that you've helped, that you want more of, then inevitably that trust builds up. Yes.
Got it. So I think that really sets up the basics well. I am coming from this, I read somewhere in the initial days of Facebook, they would try and observe people's behavior offline and just try to emulate that same behavior online through their features. That's how a large part of Facebook's features were identified, if not built, in the very early days. And I believe, so that was my context in terms of understanding how to network and build that social selling ecosystem, and what are the basics of it in an offline world, since you started with an offline presence, with an offline world, and I did not want to not take advantage of that of that journey. Now let's move forward to a much more direct and online world, much more scalable world, which is the world of LinkedIn, which is where we started, and which is the value of, which is the point of this discussion actually. So let's say I'm starting out on LinkedIn. How do I, from a empty slate, walk me through what should someone be doing? How should they be approaching? And the ball's pretty much in your
Sure.
court.
So let me pick it up from there. Okay. So at the center, imagine there's a circle. Okay. That is your offer,
Sure.
which is based around that rule of one. So
What exactly do you mean by an offer? If you can simplify it for someone who's not really familiar with the technical side of things.
Yes. So if someone says, okay, if like say someone comes to me, they will know that I'm an expert at LinkedIn. Then they will approach me and they'll say, okay, well, if I want to work with you, like, how do you work? So you have to be able to put that clearly
Sure.
to someone. So that is the offer. So that is something that you're able to put out. You're able to send them an email. This is what we will end up covering. These are the results you can expect to get. This is how we will work. This is the duration, etc. Okay. So those are the details of the offer. So even if you have something rough and ready, it helps you come across as someone professional. Now, initially, when you're starting out, there may be quite a lot of testing and experimentation that you do, but at least start with something. The one person I love who's a master at online offers is Alex Hormozy. He's the godfather of the $100 million offer.
He's written a book,
Yes.
100 million offers.
Yes. So if you really want to know how to put together a great online offer, then please read that book. That is one of the best books on that.
Wow.
Okay. So that will give you foundation of how to put together an offer.
Sure.
And so, as I said, people want to know, okay, will this solve my problem? How will it solve my problem? Show me proof that you've solved this problem for others. Okay. And what is the outcome which is measurable? Like, I don't want to hear, this will make me money. People like measurable outcomes, and especially things that they want, that after you've talked to a couple of these avatars, then yes, this is something that they want. So take, for example, in my case, I know that I help people first get their first client on LinkedIn in 45 days. That's the first key measurable. So if you've never got a client, then obviously that's the first stepping stone. And for those who have managed to get a few clients, they want consistency. So I say, look, I have a $10,000 blueprint. We help you get up to $10,000 a month consistently, predictably, of the kind of people that you want to connect or kind of businesses that you want to connect to. So, those are then very clear outcomes that are there. Okay. Then imagine there's a triangle. Okay. So the offer is at the center. Then the base of the triangle is your LinkedIn profile. Okay. And think of it like a little mini sales page. Okay. Most people set it up as a resume. Why? Because, the platform's origin was something like that. So like when you go there, it looks like a CV resume, but that's not the case. You've got to actually turn it into a sales page.
So I think that's where the large part of value is missed, because this fundamental mindset shift is something that's lagging. Personally, let's say when I will look at a LinkedIn or I look at my LinkedIn, I try to fill up whatever questions they throw at me. And they throw at me more questions from a what do I do perspective than what do I want to tell people to know about me perspective.
Yes. So I'll kind of unpack the profile.
Exactly.
I just want to tell you the other two parts of the triangle. So here on the left-hand side, you have content. Okay. Because content can then create traffic. And it's a way where the know and like can happen when you share your personal journey and story. Okay. And the trust can happen when you unpack your IP, which is intellectual property, which is your expertise. Because people want to know, yes, you know how to solve this problem. And you know how to solve this problem in a very consistent, and you have that depth. Okay. And this is where, if you're an expert, a coach, a consultant, this is where you begin to unpack your IP. And you'll begin to get a lot of people beginning to follow you. So that's the initial part where suddenly you become on the radar. The stories probably, will help people connect to you at a personal level. And then the expertise content will help you build more trust.
Got it.
The last part, I would say, on the right-hand side is that you need to know how to convert. Okay. Just posting content by itself, we work with too many experts who think that, oh, just by posting content every day, I'm going to generate clients. It doesn't happen that way. You've got to invite people to want to work with you. So there's a specific way, we call that a campaign. And we don't do it just through the post. There's very specific types of posts that happen there. And then you also need to send direct messages. So you need to do outreach or conversations with people. So it could be inbound or outbound. And also if you use email marketing together with it, so then what's happening, you're hitting multiple touch points, okay? Because I might be spending 10, 15 minutes on LinkedIn, but the average business owner or executives,
spends
on email, spends 15 to 20 times a day, checks. So if you're able to also get into the inbox, then it gives you an unfair advantage.
And you can communicate in much more detail as compared.
Yes. So there's these are the core elements that we need to have in place.
Sure. So I think let's break all of them down one by one.
Yes.
Let's start with the so 4 things that you said. One is the offer, one single offer for one single target audience. Second is the landing page or the profile page, actually, that gets converted into a sales page or tells more about who you are and what you are selling. And the third part is the content piece, which is what gets you traffic. And obviously there is a way to look at it. Traffic is of different kinds. And fourth part that you said would be how to convert. How do you convert and create a funnel out of it more than anything else? So let's start with the first thing, which is the profile page, because what that will do is that will help us. Or do we want to start with the offer? What would you suggest?
I don't want to go too deep into the offer right now, because I've already given you that particular resource. Like as I said, it's the godfather of offers. So please read that. I don't want to pretend I'm the expert, because he is the expert. I would recommend. We actually end up using his systems and processes for that. We just align it for LinkedIn so that we can then take from that offer key elements, which will then dress up both your profile so that it becomes a sales page. It feeds into your content system so that we talk about that offer, but in different ways, and then we run campaigns around that offer.
Got it. So how, just before we move forward from offer, and obviously there are you'll always test offers. There are multiple offers that you can test of. How do you measure an offer, or how good is it? What are the 1 or 2 metrics? How you measure if your offer is healthy, strong, or if you could do better with the offer that you're making?
So first of all, if you put an offer out to someone that you already know and no one says yes, that's giving you feedback that the offer is not good. If people ask you, oh, how much is it? Okay. If they sign up too fast, you were too low.
Okay.
If you give a very high figure and like, oh, let me think about it, and then they never come back to you, it's probably too high. Okay. So you then have to test those particular things out. And of course, you have to do your research in terms of who are the competitors and, are they giving some things there. What I would say is always reverse engineer, where first, what is the outcome that you're able to deliver? And one outcome. Don't try and say you're able to do 100 different things or five things. What is the one key thing? Like in my case, I say, I help you monetize LinkedIn. And, I specify that, what if I could help you generate $10,000 a month using LinkedIn?
Got it.
Then people immediately, like, if I get a lot of people saying, yes, tell me more, then that means that, yes, I already have the hook part of the offer ready. Then how do we make it more irresistible? There's things like scarcity, that this offer is only available, for X many people. Then we can add a deadline to it to say, okay, I'm only offering it for these 3 days. Then we can reverse the objections by identifying what the objections are and crafting a guarantee around it. We could have bonuses that we could throw in, saying, okay, for the next 48 hours, if you sign up, then we will give you these bonuses. But if you don't, if you take longer, then you won't get those bonuses. And those bonuses have been put together in such a way that like, in fact, a good bonus is so that people might even just sign up just for the bonus. Yeah. So if you have these key elements, then actually, you have a very irresistible offer. So, we have a little checklist that helps identify that.
And sometimes, from our experience at Zebra Learn, sometimes what you've seen is the offer really does not have to be about asking money from the other person. Sometimes you're asking for time. When we ask people to read a book, more often than not, we can give the book away for free. Even then, they're still paying us in time. They're still investing those 5, 6, 10 hours. And sometimes you need to justify that offer. Even if I give you a book, you'll have to making sure that you read it.
You've really hit the nail on the head. We live in an attention economy. You have to be amazing at capturing and retaining attention. Okay. And therefore, if someone is investing time, they're giving you their precious attention. And time is definitely money. So there's no doubt about that. And so, I put those two together.
Exactly.
Whether someone is giving me their time
or money
or the money, because sometimes I initially need more of their time to get them ready to spend the money.
In fact, we often look at every time we ask someone to give us anything, that can be their time, money, or identity. Even dropping an email ID, even that requires the ability to talk to them, to seek their permission to talk more. All these often come from offer design. Because if the offer is not weak, if the offer is not strong, even asking for a 10-minute conversation on call requires an offer. Why should someone talk to us for 10 minutes? So I get the offer part that you are bringing up, that you're explaining. One offer, one target audience, and just talking about their pain points and an output that is measurable. So that is about offer. Let's get to the bigger part, or the profile page.
Okay.
There are so many elements.
So many elements. And of course, remember, I said that the center is the offer. So now I'm going to show you how we take some of those elements from the offer and actually design them strategically in our LinkedIn profile. Okay. So when you come to a website, forget for a moment LinkedIn. Okay. There's the top half, which is visible. That is the most important part. If you get that right, then the bounce rate on that website will be low. Like the website will be sticky. Like someone will come and go, yes, this is what I wanted. And they will scroll up and, which will send a positive signal to Google, right? Saying that people are interested in this. We should show this website more to other people. Okay. It's the same with LinkedIn. LinkedIn also has its own algorithm. It is also a search algorithm. So they're measuring that, are people coming to your profile and then just bouncing? Or people are sticking, coming to the profile, sticking, and checking everything out.
So that incentivizes LinkedIn's algorithm to show you more.
Yes, it will then get you more profile views, which is more traffic. So it's a good thing. Okay, so there are 3, 4, 5 key elements. I will say 5 key elements that we typically look at. First thing, we are hardwired as humans to look at a human face. So where do you think people will look first?
The profile picture.
The profile picture. And is this profile picture looking friendly, or like they're looking like mean, or they don't even have a profile picture, or they put some company logo or something like that? It doesn't then connect. Okay. So it's really important. You need to have something which is really clean. Okay. You are smiling. 80% of your head is covering the frame. Okay, so these are some key things that are there. Okay, you're not wearing shades or something like that. You don't have any other person in the photo. Okay, so that is one part. Okay, now once you've won that particular part, and there's some amazing AI tools that we use that will connect to your LinkedIn and rate your current photo and give a very detailed analysis of what you can improve. It's called snapper.com photo analyzer.
Snapper.com.
Yeah, SNAPPR.com.
Wow.
Photo-analyzer, and it's American, so analyzer spelled with a Z.
So you know where to check out, get your LinkedIn's photo checked from.
Yes. And it'll give you detailed research about what you need to do to improve. It'll say what's good, what's not, so you can end up improving. So that's a really cool tool.
Wow.
Second thing you need to, they will look at your photo, then they will look at what is on your banner.
Yeah, that's the visual
And
part.
if the banner confuses them, like take for example, it's just a photo and there's nothing written on it. Imagine LinkedIn has given you this amazing real estate to advertise your business and you've decided not to put anything there.
Wow.
And then you're wondering, why am I not getting leads? Whose fault is it? Okay. So we have to take charge of that. And we have to put our little elevator pitch related to the offer.
So what do you mean? What should go typically there? Let's say for someone like us, let's say we talk to authors to write books with us.
Yes.
So what should go there?
Yeah. So it would be, what if a book could help you grow your business and position you as the go-to authority in your industry? So what have I done? I've not said this is what I do. I've asked a question. And remember, as I said earlier, the person that asks the question controls the conversation. I'm getting you to focus on what I want you to focus on. So it is very clear. And then it's like, oh, if I'm from that target market, I'm going to say, how do you do that?
Wow.
Tell me,
exactly.
Or tell me more, which is the right response if you've got that elevator pitch right. So this is something that I learned, because initially I used to try and explain what is BNI, and it took too long and no one was interested. Then I started asking, are referrals important to your business? What percentage of your business comes through referrals? Oh, okay, great. So you're saying 90%, 95%. Some people say 100%. So do you have a system in place to generate more quality, qualified referrals? No. Okay, well, what if I could show you a particular way where you could get that? Or tell me more.
Wow.
So you get it? Yeah. So don't try and just do that direct statement. Try and turn it into a little elevator pitch. It has to be short and crisp.
Yeah, because there's limited space.
Limited space, plus remember, it's more than 65% of the LinkedIn audience is going to see it on their mobile phone. If I can't read it, I'm not going to go like this. Okay. I'm like, okay, next, which is bounce, high bounce. Okay. So you want something very clear. Okay. And remember, your photo is going to be kind of in the middle. So it needs to be to the side of it. So you need to check, not just check on your desktop, check on your mobile as well.
First.
Yeah. So now we have the photo, the LinkedIn banner. Okay. Now, underneath your name is your headline. The biggest mistake I see people make is they'll put in their company name and their job title. And that's it.
I think the headline comes in the search and all those things as well.
Yes. So this is where SEO comes. Okay. So the first sentence, is super important, because if I were to leave a comment on someone else's post, they will only see the photo, my name, and the first sentence. Okay. So what you need to do is that needs to also be a mini elevator pitch. Now it has to be even shorter version. So in my case, I say, get 5+ warm leads with LinkedIn and AI. So the first line, again, has to be a mini elevator pitch. And you need to make it about 55, maximum 60 characters, not words, characters. And it has to be a sentence. And again, if you can talk about the result you help people get, then that makes people curious and want to click on your profile. So again, this is going to drive traffic. Profile. Okay.
So now we understood about the profile page. Let's move to the most difficult bit.
Yes.
I think the elephant in the room.
Yes.
The content piece. What drives majority traffic?
Yes.
How do you look at content? How do you go about it? What is your take, do's and don'ts for someone starting out?
Yeah, okay. So let me share a very interesting data point, which I think will help you put content into context.
Okay.
and there'll be some cool things I'll share about that as well. Is that, first of all, there's about 300 million people that weekly come on to LinkedIn. Okay?
300 million.
300 million out of the 1 billion. So that means coming every week. Okay. Now, out of that, there's only like a small percentage that produce content every day. So if you're one of those people creating content, do you not have an unfair advantage to stand out and be considered as a thought leader? A simple, easy way is creators that you like, start creating little comments for them. Okay, that's a very easy, simple way where you are then sharing your thoughts. Once you get used to that, then it's like you're creating. That's comments actually creating, because you're not just saying good, wow, interesting. Anyone can do that. And please don't use the AI auto commenters, because everyone can spot those, right? So you don't want to do that. Okay, you just want to take one key thing that you learn, one viewpoint that you have. Okay, that's an easy way to get started on your content creation journey. Before you post, okay, like exercise. Before you exercise, you do a warm up. The warm up is 5 comments. That kind of gets you into this whole writing mode. Okay. Then you post your comment. Obviously, post the post. Okay. And then you get good at responding back to comments that come on your post. And initially, you won't get many comments because no one's following you. You don't have very few connections. But you go back and again comment on 5 other people's posts. So what happens is that muscle of writing gets built daily. Okay, so Monday you can tell a personal story, try and make it an inspirational twist, or even if it's not gone well, what are some lessons you've learned? Because people who may be going through that can always learn from those lessons.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Then I would say Thursdays you want to leave for case studies. Okay, the easiest, quickest way to get business is to do a case study.
Your case is something that you've worked on, or a market case study?
Customer case study is the best. Okay. Or if you've helped get a result for yourself, which people want to get. Okay. Because then that helps you unpack your frameworks. Yeah. But I prefer doing that on other days. Right. Okay. On Thursdays, for me, it's like customer success stories. We just work with the business coach who has amazing clients, okay? And just in 5 weeks, he signed up 2 new clients. And yesterday confirmed a third one. He goes 100% only through the LinkedIn Thursday case studies. Like he's specifically saying, they saw a Thursday case study, and that's why they decided to get in touch. Then middle of the funnel content is what you should be doing Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. And
what do you mean by middle of the funnel content?
Middle of the funnel is the how-to content. It's your frameworks, it's your expertise, but it's like, okay, let me identify that this is a key problem that people have, and how have we solved it? Or what is our unique way of solving it? Or is there a particular framework to...
So more of education.
Yeah, it's educational. It's educational. So it's like getting people to move forward. Within that, once a quarter or something, you could have an event, a webinar, sure, an in-person event, So there again, attention economy, they're investing time, even if it's for free. And that's what will help you build that trust.
Sure.
So you need top of the funnel, which is the personal stories or, like tips. Okay. Then middle of the funnel, which is how to using your framework, and bottom of the funnel, the case studies.
Case studies. Yeah. And that is what gets the conversation started. And that's your week.
Yeah. And you have a complete 360-degree content system then.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so to sum it up, what Sir's basically saying is very simply stories and relatable things that gets you people to like you.
No one like
you.
Yes.
That's once a week or twice a week, and 3-4 times a week you're sharing more about education, how to, which is middle of the funnel content.
Yes.
And once a week you're sharing things like bottom of the funnel content, which is, let's say, a case study, or maybe more about you.
Or your offer, which I'm going to talk about in the last part.
And that initiates conversation about business or about converting. So that's how is there a limit to how often one should post? Should that be more than? There's a common myth. People starting out would say posting more leads to more business, more reach. Is that true, or is there a certain frequency? How do you navigate that?
I think first it depends on your target market.
Sure.
You know, how active are they and when are they active? If you're dealing with large companies,
Sure.
executives of large companies, then they may not be active on LinkedIn in the weekend.
Sure.
Okay, so then Monday to Friday is what
Your
you want
inventory.
to post on. Okay, so it's the quality of the post that matter.
Okay.
Okay, so don't just say, oh, you know, I have to post just for the sake of posting, because
Sure.
then you will lose the goodwill and trust
Sure.
that you built. So you want quality. Okay, so initially I would say go 3 days a week. Okay, so Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Okay, so it gives you a good cadence. Okay, and then as your repertoire and your experience with content gets better, plus you have data points to say which is working well, then I would suggest that you at least do minimum 5 days a week, because, you know, it's like saying, look, I'm open for business. And remember, you know, that you know, 300 million people, active audience, okay, so few people posting. So I want to be one of those people posting.
Right.
Now, if you are a big influencer, some of the big influencers like Justin Welch post twice a day, because he now has a global audience. Okay, so the morning, you know, he's hitting his Americas, and the evening he's hitting his like Europe, Asia market. Okay, so he's kind of built it in that way. He can get away with it, but my suggestion is only post once a day. Okay, and you want to repost towards the end of the day. Why? Because it will again show up in more people's feeds as a repost.
Repost the same content.
Same post. It's like you just do a repost. You don't add any other thought to it or anything like that. You just repost it. So this is something that will again get you.
Oh, this works. This doesn't.
100%. We've tested it. We have data to back it.
Great. So
Yes.
that's a trick for you.
Yes.
So that helps me understand the content part. How do you go about it? Let's now move forward. And before moving forward, last question. The question that many beginners, and typically beginners like me, ask, and a very novice question, but still I'll take the liberty of asking it. How much time does it take before one starts seeing some sort of results with it, so that it gives them a sense of patience? Because nothing will happen day 1, nothing will happen maybe day 10, day 20. And that is typically the time in which people will start losing patience. So how would you suggest?
I've seen a bookkeeper who's based in Bangladesh but wanted US clients. Okay, because we got very clear about in her offer the key pain point, which was there's a very specific type of legal bookkeeping, and if you don't get that right, okay, there can be massive penalties from the bar association in the US, and you can get disbarred.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, if I don't sort this out, it's like it could majorly affect my business. Okay. So we just kept on talking about that for 2 weeks, and everything in the profile just talked about that. In 2.5 weeks, she got a Texan client, and in 6 weeks, she got another UK client. And you know, she was off to the races.
So is this a good case or a standard case, or is it a...
No, so here, because we knew exactly what the pain point was, and the pain was painful, urgent, and relevant. And I will add E, so it becomes Pure, P-U-R-E. Okay. It was easy for her to solve.
So the pain was, again, if you remember, go again.
Painful, urgent, relevant, and easy for them to get it solved by you.
Got it. So that gives us some stories.
Yeah.
So typically what I'm expecting is the time it takes for you to figure out your offering, your pain points, all those things. For some, it can be 10 days. For some, they know it already.
I will say, if you get the offer right, and typically how we work, we say that, you know, you should be looking to get your first client within 45 days if you follow the system that we've laid out. Okay.
So that really helps us understand the content bit. Obviously, once one gets to execution, they will have to figure out what works for them and what doesn't. Let's come to the conversion part.
Yes.
how does one convert from the traffic from the landing page or from the profile page rather,
Yeah.
and the offer?
First thing, run a campaign. The quickest, easiest way to generate business is to run a campaign. What does a campaign
yeah.
mean? Let me unpack it for you. Okay. So it's about intensity.
Sure.
Okay. And in this particular case, it is about selling
Sure.
blatantly. Okay. So we have a stipulated time period. We typically say do no more than 10 days. The best we see, like I like to run campaigns which are 1 week long. Okay. Now at that point in time, I will only do my campaign post. I will not do any other post, even if I've been because I don't want people confused. At that point in time, it's all hands on deck for that particular offer because we're going to run it. Remember the scarcity. I only have so many slots. I'm only doing it for this time period. You are getting these amazing bonuses. Okay. So all of that is rolled up and wrapped into the offer. And we are stating this very clearly. Okay. So in all our communication. So we do a really nice get to know you post, which humanizes you. Then we do the actual offer post in a very particular way. And then we do a case study post. All of this is done over a week. That's it. There are only 3 days you post. And then in between, okay, from the day the offer goes live, you have already identified who are the key prospects that fall into your target market because LinkedIn search allows you to do that, particularly from first degree connections. So those are people you can send messages to. And you will start sending those particular people messages. And that's how you're able to really get a nice jump in conversions.
Wow.
Okay. So you want to do this every once a quarter.
I think we understand the conversion bit, and I think that has been that is the journey to sum it up or to look at it in a brief manner. You first look at your offer. You refer to Alex Hormozy, and you refer to all the different tricks and tips and techniques rather to design an offer. Then we discussed in detail about the landing page, which is the profile page, which is also a conversion page.
Yes.
And then also you looked at content to drive traffic and different ways to go about it, and the weekly calendar. And then we talked about the conversion. And that is pretty much in a tight manner your LinkedIn profile, and how if you do keep doing that, and you gave us a timeline of 90 days. If you keep doing that over 90 days, you should start seeing tangible results for your business, keeping the principles of rule of one, which is one person or persona, one offer, a few problems, pain points for that persona. So that really helps us align and get everything intact in terms of YouTube, in terms of LinkedIn. Now, very quickly, my next point is, how do you scale LinkedIn? Obviously, here we are relying on the algorithms and using LinkedIn to grow our profile.
Yes.
But there are other tricks, or not tricks, there are other tools that can allow you to scale LinkedIn. Things like advertising, things like partnerships, things like influencer campaigns, things like there may be multiple other tools, professional dashboard and all those things.
Yes.
So how does one really scale LinkedIn after setting up this and consistently getting business from this?
So LinkedIn influencers are a great way to initially get started. We worked with a founder of a really well-known corporate gifting company. And what they did was they identified 200 such influencers.
Sure.
And they sent them a little box.
Sure.
And then these guys ended up unboxing and sharing it. And a whole bunch of people also approached them to say that, okay, we can also do this for you. So it's helped them grow tremendous traffic also to their company page. And the founder has become an influencer in this particular space. So he's also being invited. Okay. So, and they have a 20,000 square foot facility in Bangalore. So they had a meetup there where they invited all these influencers there as well. So that was another way to do it. Second is definitely partnerships. Okay. So you can identify people who have the same target market. They're your peers. Okay. They may be someone bigger, but typically you want someone similar to your size, okay? And if you can be complementary, then nothing like it. So each of you is adding something complementary that goes well. You're not stepping on each other's toes. So that's a very easy way to then do that. Third way is there are amazing podcasts out there which are niche, which are specialists, which are looking for great people to invite as guests that they know their audience will find very useful. Okay. So in the search functionality, look for those particular podcasts, identify which ones would work. So I think that these are ways, like take for example, during COVID, of course, we knew webinars were doing very well. So I reached out to a particular 2 webinar platforms, and both of them had me multiple times. Now, obviously, the content must have been good for them to invite me multiple times. So, that generated a lot of traffic, leads, etc. So that is definitely a good way to go about it. And then last I would say is that LinkedIn does allow sponsored ads. Okay, so you can boost your posts. Okay, just be aware compared to other platforms like Meta, you're going to have to invest a lot more. Okay, but then you're getting very qualified leads for that. And I would suggest that you always push them to an event so that there's a lot more value that they can derive from there, where you're able to then unpack your expertise. So this is how I would do it.
So would you suggest someone to use tools, use ads to grow their business on LinkedIn in the way that we have been discussing? Would you suggest that?
Not the way that you see ads on Meta or something like that. I wouldn't do that, because on this platform, no one wants to be sold directly. But if you're selling a webinar or an event, and then at that point in time, if people see value in that, then yes, they would love to do that. The other post type that I would boost is the case study post. So if you know case study post is done very well, even organically, then boost that. Okay, that will be because that's proven content.
Yeah, so that's getting engaged.
And then it's going to go. Or you've had a cheat sheet that has gone viral, then you want to boost that and then have a very clear call to action leading to the landing page, which then generates leads. So I think you have to be strategic about that, because it is a much more, I wouldn't say expensive, because you have to look at ROI and you have to compare. Okay. So, but it will require a greater outlay for you.
Got it. You make it sound in a way that is doable by everyone. That is really something that's important, because often how it comes across is it comes across as something that's intimidating, something that's difficult, something that requires you to be full time and spend days on it, like entire days on it, which you really break down that process and really helps.
So I think that's a skill I developed from BNI, where, you had to convince these founders, owners, and get them to do something which they thought was, I don't need to do that. You had to show them what's in it for them and actually make it enjoyable. And once they kind of got that, it's like, hey, I want to do this.
Last question before we end. And it has been a very detailed conversation already. What is the role of AI and impact of AI in LinkedIn? And do you think one should use AI or one should not?
Right now, I would say that we're 100% using AI. Everything that you see on my posts, 100% AI. Okay. There are 3 levels that we've done this at. Okay. First of all, you have to get the marketing fundamentals right. So this comes from your experience. Okay. So you know what has worked. Okay. Then the second layer of training is you get platform-specific training built in. So here, this is LinkedIn-specific training, and then we broke that down into specifics. Like, okay, the LinkedIn profile needs to be written in this way. These are the elements. So we have very specific GPTs that are built on that, and then you can do automation through AI agents which have been trained. So if you do it in that particular way, and then you're guaranteed an amazing result. We even have a GPT that interviews the user on their journey from the time they were born till the present moment and converts them into like really compelling stories.
Wow.
So all of that is done by AI, but you wouldn't know. Like people will have a very hard time trying to say, yes, that is AI generated. It's not robotic at all. Because why? Because it's infused with your experience, your expertise. It's been specifically trained on that. It understands what your offer is and understands who your target market is. Therefore, it is holistic. And that's what I feel people get wrong when they use AI, because they're just using it out of context. They're using very simple prompts. We've done a lot of training for our AI.
Got it. That explains. You basically train your GPTs and create custom GPTs, and then you maybe fit to use it if you understand the platform and its requirements. If you're exploring, I think manual would be the right way to go when you're starting out. Is that the right understanding?
Yeah, because up till now, for I would say a good 3 years, we were only doing everything manually, and
so
it
you
was
have
working.
sense of things.
Yeah, so we know, and I mean, we constantly get feedback. Oh, I updated my profile, and I've got a lot of comments. I've generated leads already. I've even closed some of them. So all of those. I feel if you understand the basics, then it will be much more potent, and you will be able to go much further, because life is principles and fundamentals. If you work according to those, you'll never not be successful. You'll always be successful.
So that really helps me understand it. Thank you, sir, so much for taking us through that extreme detail in terms of how does one build with network or social selling, and starting from offline world and BNIs of 2003-4 and the networks that exist to more of online version of it through LinkedIn and the different tools that they offer and different frameworks that can be used to create on LinkedIn. And creating on LinkedIn is, as we saw, just a very small part or just one part of it. There is conversion mechanism, there is your page, there is your content that you put up, and different strategies that you can look at in terms of content. How do you integrate AI in different parts of the process, and then your conversion push in terms of quarterly pushes, and then later on scale the effort using ads or partnerships or collaborations and so many different methods. And I think that really helps us understand how to navigate the LinkedIn space, and how do you really stand out in a noisy world on LinkedIn. As you said, 300 million people visiting it every month, every week rather, and only a very small percentage of people creating on it. So I think that has been absolutely a learning experience for us, and we're extremely excited. And I'm excited to again have a relook at or hear this again myself, despite being here.
Awesome.
Any closing remarks that you would want to tell our audience?
Yeah, I mean, look, approach this in terms of you're building a network for life.
Yeah.
And build a network before you need it. This is not about being transactional. It's about building genuine relationships. Like you and I found each other, or rather you found me through LinkedIn. Okay. And so that's how things have ended up progressing. So,
and today we're here.
Yeah, and today we're here. And it's like we feel we've known each other for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think that's how, if you approach it in that way, then you'll really enjoy it. It won't be work.
Yeah. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Execution Show. Today, we really went through LinkedIn in a lot of detail. You understood about LinkedIn, how to create on it, how to convert on it. You understood about networking and different formats of the same. And we also understood all the different techniques and tricks and tips. And for that, also, sir has a book that's coming out that's on LinkedIn. So if you want to talk a couple of lines about your book.
It's shaping up really well. I'm very excited because we've gone into, if you thought this was detailed, we've gone even the extra mile for that. And I know that once we put the illustrations and everything, it's going to become, like, I believe, a LinkedIn Bible. Everyone will, they will have page marks, they'll have highlights, they'll have the dog-eared parts, because they will keep referring it to it. every time. And so I'm very excited.
I think you just gave the name of the book. Maybe we can consider naming it this, the LinkedIn Bible. So that please do check out the book. If you when you look at it, if the book is in the market or will be in the market, we expect the book to hit the market around May of 2025. So if you are seeing it before, please sign up on the wait list, join list. If we do a good job and deliver it earlier, please do check out on our website. And later on, if you're seeing after that, the book will be in the market, and I'm sure you'll love it. With that, we'll take your leave, and we'll meet again in the next session of the execution show, where we take up another problem statement and break it down in extreme detail. Thank you, everyone. It has been a wonderful time with you. Looking forward.